Hi everybody, Lisa here. After a little bit of a break from making videos, I'm back with another Vera Bradley bag of the day. Um, as a few of you, a handful of you might know, my dog Duke um, passed away on November 8th, about 3:15 in the afternoon. I'm going to try to hold it together for this first video without him, but I apologize in advance if I get a little emotional. I don't want to have to keep starting and stopping the videos. So I'm just going to go with whatever comes out here. So be prepared because I'm a crier, as I always tell my husband. And so this is my first video back, and for about a month and a half prior to his death, I just went into this intense mode of taking care of him, trying to keep him alive, trying to save him. And so I just kind of lost interest in a whole lot of stuff. I mean, he was my beloved. He was my heartthrob. He was my world. I work from home, so I was with him 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. From the moment I woke up with him on top of me until I went to sleep at night with him next to me. So, and he was a very physical dog, always wanted to be touching me, snuggling and stuff. I mean, from the moment I adopted him, the day I adopted him, I put him in the back of my car and he jumped over the bench and he jumped into the passenger seat in the front, and then he actually tried to sit in my lap, climb into my lap while I was driving him home from the shelter. So to lose him is kind of hard to explain. It's almost like an amputation. I feel like I've kind of lost part of my body, and we were definitely sharing my body. And he was just the most perfect creature, and so it's hard to really maintain interest in anything, and I'm really just kind of just getting by. I don't think I'm really doing all that well, but I did notice, interestingly, that, well, I have Peaches here now, so it's just us girls together. But having to take care of her is helpful, forces me to function, and actually having Vera was a good distraction in the sense that every day it motivated me a little bit to get out of the house, because I knew I could pick a Vera bag, and there was that moment of distraction and happiness where I could say, well, what bag am I going to take, before I went back into just, this funk and this sort of spacey zombie-like mode that I've really been in since this happened. If anyone is curious, he was diagnosed with a very rare, very aggressive form of cancer, tonsillar squamous cell carcinoma. So he had a mass on his tonsils that could not be removed. It is a cancer that in dogs is almost always fatal. It is always fatal. The vets have had no luck in curing this particular cancer. Anyway, so I got a pillow with his picture, so he's here a little bit, but not enough. Anyway, so I was going out of my mind with grief, and sorry, I realized one day, because another Vera fan in a group that I'm in called out to everybody that a certain fabric was available in the custom bag section of the Vera website. So thank you, Lynn, for that information, because I don't know that I would have realized this fabric was in that section until it was too late. They don't leave them there for long enough, I think. Don't get me started on that. And they never tell you when they're discontinuing them. Um, anyway, I saw this fabric that I liked, and then I was playing around with it with the, it's fun to play with the features there and make bags, virtual bags. And I realized you can have a handwritten message embroidered on a tag that is put inside the bag. And so I thought, well, I want to do something commemorating Duke in there. And that idea just sort of was like a little bit like a life preserver. It gave me something positive and to focus on and meaningful related to Duke. And so I got my dad to write the inscription because I wanted it in his handwriting. My father is an artist, a retired art director and graphic designer, design packaging, company logos, some of which you've probably seen, and ad campaigns and advertising material. He designed the Goya packaging, Goya, oh boy, and the budget rental truck logo. That was back in the day, the original logo. That's a good logo. They're messing around with the font now to try to modernize it, and the whole thing is falling apart. But the original one is a good logo, and my dad did that. They sort of, I won't get into it, but it's a long story about that one. But anyway. So I wanted it in his handwriting because that would be meaningful to me as well. And so I got him to do that. And actually, I will show that, his writing versus the embroidery, because I think it would be helpful for people to be aware of what happens when something gets embroidered. So anyway, so I did that and I got the bag, and I have the bag now, and I thought that I would show it, and it's sort of a tribute to Duke and way to try to get me back into making the videos, because I do enjoy making them, and do want to try to at least act my way back to being happy. I'm hoping that if I do that, eventually I'll get happy again. So the bag, I decided to just go all out. I know in my previous videos about the iconic Vera Tote, which I noticed recently, is they've dropped the iconic. Thank God, that word is so incredibly annoying. As I always say, that bags are not iconic. There are only like 3 bags to me that are iconic: the Hermes, Kelly, and Birkin bags, and the Louis Vuitton Speedy, the little one. Anyway, so they're calling this the Vera Tote now, and that's what I decided to get. And I know that in a lot of my videos about the totes, I'm always saying the Vera Tote is too gigantic, even though I have a slew of them now, I realize. It's too gigantic, and there needs to be a medium. The small is too small, big is too big. Need one that's just right. But I found lately that I'm really liking the large, the larger Vera Tote, and I'm using it a lot. I feel like my feelings about it are changing. Anyway, so that's what I got, and this is it. The fabric is, and the reason I wanted to get this fabric, I love this fabric to begin with. As soon as Foxwood came out, this is the lining. I fell in love with the lining. I said, the lining needs to be an exterior. Why is the lining not an exterior fabric? I just want to call up my email because I don't remember the names of everything, and I want to get them right so that people who might be interested know. But you can go to the website and find them, find the listings. Yes, okay. So this exterior fabric is the Foxwood Menagerie blue. It's cotton. And I used that for all the parts of it. I didn't do anything. I didn't muck around with the different. I know you can put a different fabric here, and you can do the straps and a different. I didn't want to do that. I just love this fabric so much, and I wanted a cohesive look. I feel like when you do that, I'm not a big fan of mixing up the patterns um, on the exterior of the bag. It just doesn't do it for me. Unless they were maybe the same pattern, just different color schemes. Like for a while they had Java Blue and they had Java Purple up there together, and that I could see maybe doing something together on an exterior with. But anyway, and so the strap, the pocket, also Foxwood Menagerie blue cotton, and the trim is indigo microfiber. And I'll get to the lining, of course, which is different. I did something different with the lining. But you could have used, I think this was a lining option too. Again, and I have a ton of videos about the iconic Vera, the large Vera on tote bags in general. So I might even have a playlist of for tote bags. So if you poke around, you can find them. I'll try to put some links in the video description here. But just the basic features are, they've still got the pleather zipper pull. Not a big fan. And the same thing up top. The top zip is a top zip. I do, in those other videos, I do give measurements. It's a nice, just only slightly recessed, soft plastic zipper. So this, I just love this fabric, and I like it to begin with. I mean, I love the fact that there are a lot of critters, and they're evenly spaced and not too rare in the pattern that you won't get them. Because what's happening with the main Foxwood pattern now is that the critters that are in there are placed so far apart. And I've been looking a lot at these bags in person in different stores, and it's so easy to get a bag that doesn't have one single animal on it. So that's, intensely frustrating. And I'm surprised that designers still design prints like that. That happened with Bordeaux blooms as well, with the dragonflies. They're so far apart, you can get an entire bag with no dragonflies. What's the point? So anyway, you can see, I was a little disappointed at first that I didn't get a fox right here. I feel like the fox, I got one there, but my arm does cover that when I put the bag on. But I did get some good ones there. Got a good section there. And that's nice because when I have the bag on my shoulder, this is very visible. Same thing here. When I have the bag on my shoulder, these foxes are, nice facing forward. Whoever's looking at me facing forward will see them. Not that people are looking at my bag, but it's very satisfying for me when I look at myself in the mirror carrying my bag. Anyway, but then I was very pleased I got the jackrabbit. And they're there too. Chipmunk there. And of course the birds everywhere. And so this is a navy background, as you can see. I think it's coming out pretty good. The lighter portions are blowing out a little bit. It's like bright overcast light here today, unfortunately, and I do have to get this video done now. This is the only window of time I had to do it. But, you can just look at the detail in these sort of all the aqua foliage details around the critters. And I'm going to compare this to the lining on Foxwood because the color palette is different. And so that's kind of nice. That was nice to compare. But that just gets you a good, look at the details of the spots on the back of the rabbit, which is a nice little detail. And I feel like the line work in all the foliage is very sharp and crisp, which is sort of different from the line work of the animals and the feel of the animals, which is almost like they were rendered in watercolor or something. They have a softer look. So I thought it was an interesting contrast. And, typical, just exact same bag features when you ordered your standard Vera Tote. The hidden pocket here, slip pocket up there, the zipper pocket on the slip pocket. Can put it on just so people get a sense of how it looks on the body. Because, like I always say, it's huge. I do feel like still, and I still feel this way, that you have to put a lot in it, but I have been carrying a lot in it lately. I like that it very easily accommodates a sweatshirt, and then that makes it actually look a little bit better on. The opening is about 17, 17 and a half, so that's a big opening. And top to bottom is 14. And the strap drop, comfortable quilted straps, 13, 12 to 13. So I always say I'm 5'4", 130 pounds. Oh, I put this in here for a moment so then I can show people how I have it packed up, because I'm going to take everything out and then compare fabrics, and if I can turn this inside out, that would be ideal. I don't know if I can do that. I'll try to do that so people can really get a better look at the embroidery. Oh, and this is the box that it came in. So very nice packaging, thank God. The thing is, I paid an arm and a leg for this. I was like, this is, I can't really afford this right now. I have thousands of dollars in vet bills I need to pay off, but I just needed something that would make me feel better in the moment for this. Because I'm really not having a good time of it right now. It comes in this is like a thin cardboard sleeve with the polar bears, and then this sturdier cardboard tray like thing slips out, wrapped in tissue. Has a little ribbon here, pull it out, grow grain ribbon. So I guess I'm going to save this and store bags in here that I don't mind keeping flat. I've gotten to that point, it kills me to have to store Vera stuff flat, but I'm at that point where I have no space anymore. So I'm going to have to bite the bullet and store stuff flat. So 5'4", this is about, this is what it's going to look like. Very big. I don't have a sweatshirt in here right now, but I have tons of room still in here for a sweatshirt. So when I'm, see if it doesn't blow out. When I'm holding it, yeah, you get the foxes there. So that's good. But you can see the fox that's up there. My arm goes right over it, pretty much. But I did notice that on the top inner, at like the recess part, this strip has all these little foxes, and they're not too badly decapitated. Maybe just a tip of an ear kind of cut off. So I was pleased with that. Okay, so in here I have, I'm shedding. Well, this is something new I've been doing just in my, panic sorrow. I'm using a lanyard to carry around photos. This is my Mickey lanyard. But I discovered these campus double IDs. I'm never going to keep an ID facing out to the world, my own ID. I don't need everyone all up in my business. So I feel like this is good for photos, and so that's what I'm doing, and I'm gonna slip more photos in here. But there's my boy. So I can just make me, happy to have pictures he's blowing out there. And this is my first dog. So I just thought, I could have a whole bunch of them on here for each. I have some pictures of my husband. I'll get another one, put those in here, and pictures of my dad. So I'll get a whole one, and I'll just carry them around. Any excuse to use more Vera. But also, I was finding that one of the crossbodies that I like to use as a wallet, the area where I was keeping my little photo wallet sleeves was very loose, and I was worried the photos would slip out. And so I started to think of other ways to tote my photos around. That's how this came about. So in here I have my normal stuff, using medium iconic, lighten up iconic for my charger cords. This is Stitched Garden, which I like very much. I didn't like stitched flowers so much, but I do like this a lot. Uh-oh. A GPS, a coin purse, a kiss lot coin purse, scroll, medallion, from the factory. This was the all-together crossbody that I like to use as a wallet. I like it very much as a wallet. And I was not really sure where to put my photos, so I was putting them in this sort of blousey, elasticized area. And they do, you know, kind of slip out a little bit. And so that started to make me worry that I would lose them. So that's when I started thinking about, you know, using the campus ID, double ID. And in here, a cell phone, Carson cell phone crossbody in one of the slip pockets. And my iPad mini fits very nicely in a larger slip pocket. There are 6 slip pockets inside, no zipper pockets inside. Oh, I'm going to need this. So the inside fabric was Foxwood blue cotton. Now, it's also an option for an exterior fabric in the custom section, and so it has a really heavy hand to it, like the exterior fabrics do. And so it's more substantial than even the linings, the polyester linings now that they're using on the newer bags that aren't, you know, they have that more cotton-like feeling. I've talked about that in a couple of videos, and it's great. But this feels even more substantial than that because it's cotton. It's great. I mean, it's just great. And this, is it again? Foxwood blue cotton. And the exterior was Foxwood Menagerie blue cotton. So let's get the actual Foxwood out. So this is my Foxwood Bright Tote. It seems to be only this style on QVC, and I just love this style. I've got a couple of videos on the Bright Tote. People watch them. They know I love the Bright Tote. Love the slouchy look. I go over the dimensions and the features in those other videos. This is the front. Did get a chipmunk right in the front, so I was pleased. This is not, initially I was like, oh, there's no foxes here, and I was upset, and I was thinking about exchanging it, trying to exchange it. But then the more I looked at it, the more I realized I still got a number of good foxes, and when I carry the bag, they're in good spots. There's one right up there. There's one on the other side there. Where's the other one? There's one more somewhere. I have three total. One there. Yeah, one there. Maybe just 2. I thought I had 3. But it might just be 2. But when I saw those, I thought, okay, well, I'm okay with it then. I didn't get a full rabbit. That was kind of a bummer. But I do like the chipmunk there. I don't know, maybe someday I'll try to exchange it. This is not a typical color palette for me. I'm not crazy about it. Reminds me a little bit of Symphony and Hue, which I did like. I do kind of like it, but I'm moving away from it. I feel like I'm more a Blue Rhapsody person, and I may try to sell 1 or 2 of my Symphony and Hue pieces at some point. But it's a warmer color palette. I love this particular leaf. Not so crazy about this. The rendering kind of reminds me a little bit of Fox Forest, the Dillard's exclusive. Not so crazy about this. The black accents. The black accents are what turned me off of stitched flowers. incidentally, coincidentally. But overall, I do like it. So it gives a good idea. The background is black. I know I've seen um, some Vera fans are wondering, is the background black? It's black. And I have been using it. I do like it. And so then the inside. So, all right, I'll turn this one inside out first because I'm going to have to turn them both at some point. So the inside is the same as the custom bag, my custom bag outside, only different colors. So here you get this fantastic purple. It's great, right? It's blowing out a little bit, but you know, it's light to begin with. There's like a lot of white in this detail work. If I can just get it a little bit softer. Yeah, that's a little bit. A little bit better there. Yeah, that's a little bit better there. So you can almost see the rabbit has a little, almost like a grayish blue tint. Birds there. Again, that same kind of rendering with the foliage, the ground foliage very sharp, and the animals a little bit softer. And so when I just have had this, I just feel like, this is where I would picture Duke running, chasing squirrels and rabbits. He did like to chase rabbits. I always had him on a leash, though. He was always pulling me. And so in my head, that's, this is where he is now, chasing rabbits and whatever. So that's kind of why I wanted this particular print, to get this sort of bag in memory of him. So you can see the colors together. Let's see. Let me see if I can get the light even a little bit softer. I don't know if that helps. But may not help so much. That's not bad. That's good lighting for this. This is accurate. This is fairly accurate. And you can see the microfiber piping here a little bit. I think it matches okay. I guess I could have tried denim. So then, the inside of this is like the outside of this, but again, the color scheme is different. And I actually think that this color scheme is a little bit more appealing. And I was thinking, well, I wonder if I'll end up wanting to get another custom bag with that other fabric on the outside. But I think I'm okay with what I've got now. I still don't think I like it enough that it's calling to me that much. This is for people who are wondering, although I do have a bunch of videos on the Bright Tote. There's some kind of piece of something in there, but it's not removable and it's very soft. It's a very slouchy bag. And so the inside of this, I'm sorry, I know this video will be a little bit long because I do want to show my dad's template for the embroidery. I don't know if I can get this inside out even. This also is not a removable base for people who are wondering. There is something in there more substantial than what's in the Bright Tote, but also still soft. But you can feel the edges of it. I feel the edges of it. Not sure what it's made out of, but I think I definitely have washed these larger totes in the washing machine and they've come through fine. Okay, so this again, because I never remember anything. This is Foxwood blue cotton. And so again, you could have this as the exterior. So it's got just a nice heavy hand. It's really great. It feels very rich, very substantial, like quality. So you can see the completely different color scheme, obviously navy blue background here, not black. So that softens things. I do think navy is a very elegant color and certainly just overall softens the contrast between the pattern colors and the background. Black is very harsh. As you can see the rabbit up top there. And so here we have the, here's my, there's a fox. I did get a fox, okay. Let me get it. So this is the embroidery. It reads Duke, and then it says, on the next line it says Big Love. That's my nickname for him. I called him Big Love. His dates, I don't know his exact birth date because I adopted him when he was about 4. I had him for about 3.5 years. And his death date, and then Like Sunshine After Rain. It's a line from a Shakespeare sonnet. Love comforteth like sunshine after rain. And that's kind of how I felt about him. I got him, I was mourning the death of my first dog, who I had had for many, many years, for at least 14 years. Had been nursing her at the end of her life, and she was not well. And so it was like a long goodbye. And so I was more prepared. I was still devastated, but I was more prepared. What happened with Duke was very sudden, and it's just really no time to even think. And I just decided one day, I found myself in SPCA, and I thought, let me just look. I felt like I'm going to be sad for a long time, but I can be sad and take care of another dog. I can be sad and help another dog, and that's what led me to Duke. And so I was still very sorrowful when I got Duke, and he healed me. He definitely healed me. So that's why I think of this quote when I think of him. So this is an approximation of my father's handwriting. I will show the template. This was I don't remember what thread color is that on here. It's not on here. I could have sworn I picked lavender, but it's not really looking very lavender. I might have ended up changing to beige just for legibility. And there is some beige in the pattern, so it kind of picks it up. I did also consider orange because I think that would look excellent because there's that orange color in the pattern, but I wasn't sure it would read so well when I mocked it up on the screen. I wasn't sure, but looking at it now, I think it probably would have read okay. What I noticed about this embroidery is that it is a little jerky looking in the sense that it looks a little angular here, a little sharp edges at times. And I initially, when I opened up the package and saw that, I thought, oh God, it doesn't look like my dad's handwriting anymore. And that's true. It doesn't look exactly like my dad's handwriting anymore. But after I got off over the initial reaction, I realized, well, they did a good job. They did it as best they could. I mean, I'm sure this is machine done, and the machine has to stop and turn, I'm sure this is flat and it's being, turned under the needle or whatever. And then maybe the machine turns too a little bit. I don't know. So that's going to happen. And so I just thought I would mention that for people to be aware that if you do use something in your handwriting or someone else's handwriting that you recognize the handwriting, just be prepared that it might not look exactly like the handwriting. It can't be exact. And I will show now the file that I sent them. So you have to load up there's a template on the website that gives you the parameters, like the box, and you write in that box, and then you load it up. You take a photo of it, and then you load that photo up onto the website when you're ordering. It looks better. Well, let's see if I can get it to be as big as possible. So this is the file that I sent to them. This is my father's handwriting. And you can see this here, it says, it says message box up over there. That's part of the template. So obviously that part's not going to print. So this is my dad's handwriting. Oh, get myself oriented here. There we go. That took a while. So you can see it just doesn't look quite as smooth, quite as thick. I mean, the fact that it's not quite as thick is okay because I think the thickness of my father's writing, makes it a little bit hard, would have made it very hard to translate it. It might have made it a little bit less legible. So I think that change that they did, I'm okay with. But you can just see it just look a little sharper. The edges look a little sharper. The N and rain almost looks like a little bit like a K. But it got the concept. It got it close enough. You know, you're losing all the things I love about my dad's handwriting here. Almost. This end of the D here, almost like a serif. It's not really a serif, it's just his writing. Same thing in the S there. You know, all those little, again, almost looks like a serif. The top of the H in sunshine. All those little details of his handwriting that come from years of mocking up fonts, typefaces, and in the graphic design world. I wanted to capture that. So a little bit of that is lost, but I feel like I'm okay with it. I'm pleased with it. But again, just in case people might find it helpful, it's not gonna. It might not, depending on the handwriting that you use, it might not look exactly like it, photographically like it. It's not. They can't. But again, I'm pleased with it, and the color palette, again, you can see the difference now in the colors. It's softer on the lining. So I do think. I'm never going to get that. I'm never going to learn that, the orientation here. Oh, this is interesting here. That leaf that I like is orange. You know, here it's more mustard and lavender with that red flower. Where's the, I don't see any of these flowers that are these big red flowers. Oh, there it is, on the edge, sort of cut off a little bit. That one on the edge is like this big, that big red one there. So this this one is definitely more muted. I don't think I have, oh, there's a jackrabbit there. I don't see a squirrel. Oh, there. I mean a chipmunk. Oh, it could be a squirrel. No, I think it's a chipmunk. So there's a chipmunk there versus the chipmunk there. Oh. This is a good fall. I feel like a good fall, October, November pattern for sure. A little electric for me, but like I said, I have been using it because of the critters. If this didn't have critters, I wouldn't have been interested in this pattern at all. And the lining is just gorgeous. So you know, when I became aware that, like I said, thank you, Lynn, because I don't know if I would have. It was made in the USA. There's a tag. I don't know if I would have realized this fabric was available until it had passed me by, which is what happened recently for me with Bluebird, which was in the custom section for a while. Now it's gone. Java Blue was there. Now it's gone. I mean, Happy Snails was there, I think, for a while. I don't know if that's what it was called, but Happy Snails, I think. I'm not a big fan of that pattern. Oop. But it was there for a while. I don't think it's there anymore. So, you know, they should give you a heads up. Whenever I'm given these email surveys and I fill them out, that's what I was writing about in one of the more recent ones. But they should give people a heads up at the time limit, the time frame that they have to order something in the custom section before those patterns are going away, because the bags are more expensive. And I think, you know, if I hadn't been in this state of mourning I would have said, okay, well, I'm going to budget for that. I'm going to save up for it, and I'm not going to get it right now. But for me, that, I was just like, I don't care how much it is, I need it right now. So, but I might have missed out on it if I hadn't been in that state of getting it right now, because I would have said, okay, I'm going to save up for it. That takes a while for a lot of people. A lot of people don't have a lot of money to spend on bags. Anyway, so this one last close-up look. So that's my first video back without Duke. My big love. My biggest love. And so I just thought, well, hopefully this will get me back in the swing of things, and thought people might be interested to get a look at a custom bag. Feels exactly the same as the other, the standard tote that you would buy pre-made, just as substantial, just as well made, doesn't feel flimsy, no threads loose, no threads not tacked down where they, hanging off or anything. Just really well done, and I'm very pleased. So I hope people found that helpful, and hopefully we'll get back to doing the videos a little bit more frequently. I do have a lot that I'd like to do. So thanks so much for hanging in there during my break. For the people who stayed with me, stayed subscribed. Thank you so much, and hope people found that helpful, and hopefully we'll see you next time on Vera